And welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and then it's just welcome. My name is Rusty. This is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And welcome back to another genre list. Vengeance horror thriller is my third favorite subgenre of bloody, gory horror. I know that especially where some subgenres are concerned, they cross lines. You have comedy horror and horror thriller and, horror comedy and, they bleed a little. But blood, gore, murder, kills, the equalizer is extremely fantastic. Hell, the equalizer may be a slasher. Might as well be a slasher. So it's based on the kills and the different kinds of kills. So everything bleeds over, and this is my top 10 favorite of all time horror thriller based on Vengeance. And goodness gracious, I forgot one. I just noticed that. I could stop and start over, but why? And that is V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta is a fantastic movie. It definitely is one of the honorable mentions. I just forgot to grab it and bring it over here. But yeah, I said it. It got its due. So we're going to start off with some honorable mentions of the genre that I love. And that is, like I said, the horror movie, or the Vengeance horror, Vengeance thriller. You get the point. Rambo might not be a horror movie, but it's definitely Vengeance, and it's definitely bloody, and yeah. Just bear with it. So, for a few honorable mentions before I get to my top list, we're going to start off with John Doe Vigilante. Now, John Doe Vigilante, it stars Jamie Bamber. If you don't know who that is, Jamie Bamber played Apollo in the, remake of the Battlestar Galactica series. The old one. And then they had Battlestar Galactica 2004. And it went all those years. So he played Apollo in that. This is a very brutal, very, very gory, brutal Vengeance horror movie. Lots of stellar kills, and all done live. He's like doing all his kills live, as he takes justice into his own hands, and he tracks down all of these different kinds of bad people, and then he kills them like in a like Unfriended or Dark Web type thing. We have 8mm with Nicolas Cage. An accidental vengeance. He didn't set out to become the hand of vengeance and justice, but he certainly did when he discovered everything that was going on. So you have Nicolas Cage and Joaquin Phoenix in 8mm. This is Danny Dyer, and this is like a British Vengeance movie called Vendetta. This is actually extremely good and definitely ranks in my honorable mentions of Vengeance. Did it say Death Wish for 2013? Yeah, well, not quite, but close. Yeah, that's really good. Peppermint. I think Peppermint is a really, really good Vengeance movie. I have a lot of fun with it. Jennifer Garner. She's a badass. Focus. Thank you. And then, of course, we have Kill Bill. You can't get any more Vengeance than Kill Bill, can you? This is Kill Bill 1 and 2, plus all the DVDs that I had. So those are the honorable mentions. Peppermint, Kill Bill series, Vendetta, 8mm, and John Doe Vigilante. And we'll move on now to the actual list. And that is, starting in at number 10, we have The Tortured. Tortured is kind of like the movie 7 Days, and another one that another channel like did a watch along, and I went to that Tubi place and watched it. It was kind of like that, but it was released in 2010, and it stars Erica Christensen, Jesse Metcalfe. Jesse Metcalfe is from the Dead Rising zombie movies. He was also in that new Dallas series. He's been in a couple movies with Bruce Willis, action movies. He's pretty cool. I like him. But him and his wife, their son is kidnapped out of the yard and murdered. And they find the killer when the justice system fails, as it usually does. And he is brutally, they take him to a farmhouse and do pretty awful things to him and his wife. And the ending is extremely disturbing because things are not exactly what they think. And yet they've done all of this stuff. Coming in at number 9, we have The Punisher. Now, The Punisher was released in 2004, and it stars Thomas Jane and John Travolta and Samantha Mathis. Fantastic. The best version of The Punisher. Thomas Jane is just amazing in this movie, and it's absolutely fantastic. Like I said, we bleed genres in this, but okay. Coming in at number 8, we have Sally Field. Yes, Sally Field showing up in a top 10 Vengeance horror. But here she is. Sally Field, Kiefer Sutherland, and Ed Harris. Now, Eye for an Eye was released in 1996, and it stars Sally Field, Kiefer Sutherland, and Ed Harris. The opening scene where she actually listens. I mean, she's talking to her daughter. She's stuck in traffic. And she is on the phone with her daughter, who is getting the birthday decorations all done at the house for her little sister, when someone rings the doorbell, and it's Kiefer Sutherland, who brutally rapes and murders her on the phone, with Sally Field screaming and hollering in the middle of the road, running down, trying to get help, stuck in traffic, while she listens to her daughter be brutally murdered on the phone. It just rips you to pieces, that scene does. And of course, the justice system lets them down. He gets off. Literally, he gets off. I'm talking he gets off, like dismissed, over a technicality. The judge is played by one of the guy that plays the Ferengi from Deep Space Nine, actually. But he gets off completely. I'm not talking about a light sentence or anything. I'm talking about they let the motherfucker go. She ain't having it. She ain't having it. And it's just like a phenomenal, phenomenal movie. And the ending is fist pump worthy. She goes from this nice suburban soccer mom to this brutal, devious killer to finally make this. And Kiefer Sutherland, when he wants to be bad, like in Freeway and stuff like that, when he wants to be bad, Kiefer Sutherland is bad. And in this movie, he is bad. He is a bad guy. Just horrible, horrible guy. And it all works out as it should. Coming in at number 7, We have the original I Spit on Your Grave. Letterboxd edition. What is this? The original uncut. As if you could make it any worse, right? But I absolutely love I Spit on Your Grave. I think it is a phenomenal movie. I think the remake was watchable and alright, but it was like way toned down. We'll hear something about the sequel in a minute, but you know, I Spit on Your Grave, the original, is an absolutely phenomenal Vengeance movie and definitely started them all. You know what I'm saying? It and Death Wish pretty much brought the genre to light and did it gender equal, you know, because I Spit on Your Grave was released in 1978, which was only 4 years after Death Wish. And you basically, so I mean, you know, they got gender equal very quickly in this particular genre, you know, because she's just as badass as Charles Bronson, and this was still in the 70s. So yeah, I Spit on Your Grave was released in 1978. Stars Camille Keaton, Aaron Tobor, and Richard Pace. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's very, very difficult to watch, but at the same time, oh, there's that tub scene. We all know what happens there. Yeah. Little Nick. Look out for the Nick. I Spit on Your Grave, the original. And here, little genre crossover, but, you know, can you get any more vengeance? Can you get any more revenge than Rambo? Each one of the Rambo movies is nothing but pure, bloody, gory vengeance and gets worse and worse as they go along. And of course, it crosses over into the military genre and the action genre, but at its core, it is bloody, gory, vengeance horror, and that is the Rambo series. And that comes in at number 5. The Rambo series started, of course, in, 1981? 1982. And continued on until, 2018, 2019? That they finished it up. But each one was a bloody, gory mess, and I love it, and it is number 6 in my top 10 vengeance of all time. Coming in at number 5, we have Kevin Bacon in the unrated director's cut of Death Sentence. Believe it or not, this has never had a domestic Blu-ray release. You have to get it. You can get like a foreign one, I guess, if you've got, if you've got a region-free Blu-ray player, you can get a foreign release. But Death Sentence, which was released in 2007, starring Kevin Bacon, John Goodman, and Kelly Preston. I love every second of this movie. I, of course, am, well, like all of these people, I am always on their side. I am all about the vengeance. I am like, I'm very 1500s. I'm very Middle Ages in my opinions about vengeance and justice, and yeah. So that's why it's one of my favorite genres, is because I mostly agree with everything that they do, provided that they are justified and righteous and correct about who they're targeting. So yes, number 5, Death Sentence, Kevin Bacon. Moving on to number 4, we have I Spit on Your Grave 2 unrated. Now, this is the sequel to the remake of I Spit on Your Grave. This sequel was released in 2013. The reason it's so high on my list and the reason it's above the original is because it just ticks every box to me. It's absolutely brutal, it's absolutely gory, it's absolutely horrific, and it's absolutely justified and righteous. So it gets them all. Like I said, the remake of I Spit on Your Grave was a little too toned down for my taste. When when I'm in the mood for this, I'm in the mood for this. They toned it down a lot but they did not in this. It's almost like somebody told them, it's like, you do know that you're kind of competing with the original, And so when they came back, this is an independent story. It is not connected to the original. It is not connected to the remake. And it's not connected to the the second sequel of the remake. It's a standalone story. And it is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. She is beyond badass. And I really, really enjoy what she does to these people. And they deserve it, every bit of it. So yes, I have a great time with this. It is my fourth favorite Vengeance film of all time is I Spit on Your Grave 2. Unrated. Now, coming in at number 3, we have what I consider to be the real remake of Death Wish, and that is The Brave One with Jodie Foster. Now, The Brave One was released in 2007. It stars Jodie Foster, Terrence Howard, and Naveen Andrews. And yeah, this is in style, in intensity, in kill, in character development. It is the real remake of Death Wish, is this movie right here. Now, I'm not going to rant too much about the Bruce Willis abomination, because that word pretty much does it for me. But I absolutely despise the Bruce Willis thing. I do have it over there because I figured, being a Bruce Willis fan, that I would like it. It was horrible. I hated it. I watched it that one time. I was extremely disappointed. It was so boring, and it was not worthy of the name Death Wish. This is the real remake of Death Wish, from what happens to how she becomes what she becomes, to the actions that she takes, and it even has a very similar ending to the original Death Wish. She gets away with it all, and with the police's help, just like Charles Bronson did in the first one. That's why I'm saying that this is the actual real remake of Death Wish, is The Brave One with Jodie Foster. And it is my number 3 favorite Vengeance film of all time, is The Brave One. My second favorite, coming in at number 2, we have Matilda Lutz, Kevin Jansen's and Vincent Colombe in 2017's Revenge. Didn't need no other title than that, because that's exactly what the fuck it is. I absolutely love this, including that over-the-top last 15 minutes, which is just a ridiculously bloody gore fest from hell. But everything about this movie is fantastic. From what she was, what she became, how she became it, the kills, although there's 4 in it. They are so, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they are so drawn out and painful and not only are they well deserved, but your anticipation of them. Each kill is like drawn out to where you're actually begging for it, and I like that. When you finally do get it, it's like you've just been, doing it for an hour and a half, and you finally get off. So I kind of like that there's not a lot of kills, but they draw each one out like the film is making it with you. And then finally gives you the gold. And the last 15 minutes is probably one of the most outrageous fights that I've ever seen in a film to this day. Is her and the main guy's battle at the end, and it is well worth it. So yes, Revenge is definitely my second favorite vengeance horror, bloody gory vengeance horror of all time is Revenge with Matilda Lutz from 2017. And I think you probably don't even have to wonder what my number one is. Do you? If you do, you're probably not thinking very clearly right now, because of course it's going to be Death Wish. The Death Wish series in total. This is the Steelbook. This is the Charles Bronson Steelbook for Death Wish. Can't get any better. The original Vigilante. Hallelujah. It's a beautiful steelbook. If the police don't defend us, maybe we ought to do it ourselves. Never truer words are spoken, or written, or etched in steel. This is Death Wish from Charles Bronson. The series began in 1974, starring Charles Bronson, Hope Lang, and Vincent Gardenia. And this was the beginning. This is the Scream Factory unrated director's cut of Death Wish 2, which I love just as much. Then, of course, we have 3, 4, and 5. No, 2, 3, and 4 is in this one. Yeah, so I've got like a second copy. But I don't think this is the unrated director's cut. This is the... But you got 3 and 4. Two, 3, and 4 in this. This is 1 and 2. And yes, Charles Bronson. Especially the first two. The first two are just phenomenal because they're basically one movie. Because he goes on vacation after the stuff in this, and so this is basically one movie. And the others then continue the thing. But I love them all. But number 1, best vengeance movie ever made is Charles Bronson in Death Wish, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Even though 4 and 5 is kind of silly. And that does it. Number 1, Death Wish. Number 2, Revenge. Number 3, The Brave One. Number 4, I Spit on Your Grave 2, the unrated edition. Number 5 is Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon. Number 6 is the Rambo series. Number 7, the original I Spit on Your Grave. Number 8 is Eye for an Eye with Sally Field and Kiefer Sutherland. John Travolta and Thomas Paine in The Punisher is number 9. And The Tortured with Jesse Metcalfe is number 10. Then we had our honorable mentions of 8mm, Vendetta, the Kill Bill double feature, Peppermint and John Doe Vigilante. And that is a big old pile of bloody vengeance. And I will see you in the next thing that I do. Love you, miss you, bye-bye, and always remember and never forget, you're a very, very special person. Or you could just be sick. But you are a very special person. Don't let anyone ever tell you different. If they try, just show them your DNA profile on 23andMe. It proves it. And they would be lying if they said any different. I will see you in the next thing I do. Let me know what's your favorite. If you could write 2, 3, 5 of them, do me a little list. If you, of course, have any videos on your channels where you have counted down your Vengeance movies or your favorite Killer Kids movies or your favorite, I love to watch top 10s like that and see what's different. Maybe see something I've never heard of. Who knows? And I will see you in the next thing I do. Bye-bye.